So the front of the car, as you have seen, many of y'all have seen, whenever it's time to put it on the trailer, I have the screw-in hook that goes into the front of the tube chassis. What we did to do that is, I'll show you real fast, but what we did was we took a crash bar off of like a Mazda, and we actually just cut, no, actually, we didn't. We took the toe point out of like a Mazda, and then we found a nut that was the same threads and just welded the nut into the end of a pipe. So this is like your spare tow hook that's in the back of your car, in the trunk of your car, for if you wreck, the towing company will take the little square piece out your bumper, they'll screw this in, and this is how they winch your car on a rollback safely. So that's how we did the front. This will come out, and then when this is out, if you don't want it in there, all there is that little tiny hole right there between the two front Zeus fasteners. So on the rear car, we haven't really had anything. I have tie down points under the car, but I don't have nothing to pull it with. So what we were doing is we were just taking it, this is the parachute mount, and we were just wrapping it around this bar. But then it kind of wants to, you know, slip up here, and it could get into all this and damage everything. So you didn't really have a good solid point. Now, me and Mike did take last time, and the bolt right here for the tether, we hooked the hook through it, but it was actually extremely difficult to get it through because the tether, it's pretty big. The bolt that I use has 2 bushings on it. So this is the bolt I use, and it has these 2 bushings on it, and there's just not quite enough, you know, room in the thickness of this bushing to get a hook around it. So I wanted to put a toe point on the bottom of it. Now originally what I was going to do is we were going to put these U-bolts underneath the frame of the car just for tie down. So we were going to have them facing like this. The other ones are facing like this, and they are behind the fiberglass rear panel back there. And so I was going to actually put these up on the frame rail, you know, so that you're pulling straight down and you're not near the fiberglass rear lower valence, because it has kind of tore up, you know, chipped up, scratched up my pieces. So you can see my hook is right here, and it just gets close to this. So we were going to move it up there on the frame rail, but haven't done it yet. So I was going to take the U-bolt and cut it, weld it to the bottom of the parachute, but I changed my mind. This is what I've come up with. So I was going to weld the U-bolt down here, and I was like, it just don't look appealing, you know. Now going back, if I could do this again, I actually probably would have cut all of this off. But what I have done to get this cool little design, because I like designs because it looks like, you know, it was CNC machined and made. It don't look sloppy necessarily like a U-bolt. And what I have done is used a old manifold. So this is a Coyote manifold, exhaust manifold, and I seen these curves down here, and I was like, man, that is perfect. It is thick enough, you know, you could basically flat plate it right to the bottom of the parachute mount, you know, grind it on both sides, and we'll be able to come in here and hook it. So that's what we have done. I wanted to leave these holes here just because if you ever need them, they're already there. They're really thick freaking, you know, steel plate. What is that, ½ an inch, quarter of an inch or something, and it is a little crooked. That's me not lining everything up perfectly. But the whole parachute mount is kind of funky because we're just trying to get this thing out, but you don't see it when it's on the car. So we're going to get this thing painted. That problem is solved. That's an excellent point to put your hook on, and you can either winch the car in the trailer backwards, or if you need to pull it out driveway to golf cart, whatever you do, if you need to pull on the back of the car to go backwards, this is an excellent point that's nice and thick to hook to. That's going to get a little paint, and then that one's done. All right, hope everybody had a good weekend. It is Sunday morning. Well, it's Sunday about lunch. It's almost lunchtime. So by the time y'all are seeing this video, your weekend will be over. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hopefully we get to TKM on Tuesday. That's the plan. I got to check with Kevin tomorrow on Monday and see if his Tuesday's free. His Friday is not free, so that's out of the question. We're combing through this checklist. This checklist is getting like this small. So it was like, scroll it. Now it's like down to that. Brakes are done, so the leaking brake line fixed that. Me and the wife, she helped me bleed the brakes this morning. The parachute mount is in the car, bolted in the car. Just got to finish that up, and I need to open the garage door. Don't got room. Well, not open the garage door because the humidity level here is 88% this morning, so we're not opening the garage door. We're leaving that AC on, so I'm not dealing with that crap. Gonna get the car off jack stands because I have done everything that I can think of on my list on the bottom side of the car. So now we're gonna go ahead and get it off jack stands, mark the collectors to where we want to cut them at, jack one side up, take them out, cut them, put it in, blah, blah, blah. Get them cut. Why did I say that? We went to food line this morning, grabbed some distilled water, topped off the coolant system. So the coolant system has all of its fluids in it. I do not have my coolant additive in there yet. I'm not going to do that yet because I don't want to waste this stuff. This stuff was $100 for these 4 bottles. So we're not going to do that until the car is running perfectly fine. But at least it has its in there, water in there, and the water pump pumps water. All that stuff works as it's supposed to. The radiator fan shroud with the fans are wrong. So Jason Braswell said that he was very concerned about it, that the way that there's no space between, you know, like this, where airflow can get in there, that is basically just going to pull air straight through the radiator where the fan is and not around it. So I got to space a fan shroud off the radiator and try to fit another smaller fan in there. I'm going to have to order one, so we're going to have to build that, but that's going to be like next week. So it don't even need a radiator fan to go to TKM. It don't even need a radiator to go to TKM. But I do have coolant in there. We will circulate it while it's on the dyno just to help keep everything as cool as possible. We'll try to probably run the fans and see what it does on the dyno just out of curiosity before we go changing it all up. Might not have a problem. Maybe it won't overheat, but I think it will overheat. Let's see here. The leaking fuel adapter on the back. Got that on the way in the mail. You got one more item on the way in the mail that should be here hopefully more. Oh, bolts. Longer transmission bell housing bolts. So where your guide pins, what are they called? Dowel pins. Them require longer bolts for some reason than all the other bolts. So I had to order special bolts off eBay. They should be here tomorrow. All the other bolts are in the transmission. Let's get this thing off the jack stands and let's cut some dumps. I'm actually very surprised and pleased with these dumps of how low they are. They're actually not low. I'm tempted not to cut them, but we're gonna cut them. So that's how low they are. So I can get the camera down there. So I can fit my hand under there, but I don't want to deal with that. So I'm thinking we'll measure that band probably and see if we can get them close to that. So we're going to try to cut a little bit off of this just to make them a little bit more ground friendly. So this is what we're going to attempt to do. Sharpie tape to a 2x4, sit the 2x4 on the ground, just drag the 2x4 around and scribe the tip. That way we have an equal cut off of the ground, you know, around the tip. So here's also a reason why we can't get the trailer home today and load the car in the trailer, probably unless this rain moves out of here. So went to notice one thing. I was gonna mark the tips, and then I was like, well, we probably should get this thing a little closer to ride height, because right now it's like way out of whack, like 2 inches higher on one side and the other side, 1 inch higher on the other one side than the other side on the rear. So I said we should probably at least get this thing a little bit closer to where we want it, even though I was dreading it. So I go to mess with the back a little, and I go to mess with the front. I'm gonna turn down the driver's side because the passenger side is way lower. It looks really good. So I think I have the room. I'm gonna turn down the driver's side some more, but look at this. Boy, this Procharger placement has just messed me up in so many ways. So Jason had to build this, and obviously he did. You know, he cut it out to clear our tube, but then look at my jack bolt now. So my jack bolt literally, I mean, I have, let's see here. No, I have like no room for it to come up at all. So it literally can't come up. So what's gonna have to happen with this now, eventually, is if I want to raise the jack bolt, we're gonna have to come in here and cut this out, basically like this, and put another clearance piece in that intake for that Procharger. So I'm telling you, that Procharger facing that way has done nothing but mess me up. And also building this front suspension, all of this stuff without having the Procharger on there, has messed me up. But I hope this is temporary, because I hope within the next year to make a change, cut the whole front of this car off and go back factory style front end. So we're just gonna make everything work for right now and not, I mean, obviously we're not cutting nothing apart. So if the ride height works like that, then we're good. When they come out of the car, this is what they look like. I mean, you just got your marker lines on both sides. So that's basically what you need to cut off. So it's a pretty easy way to do it. And I'm going ahead and trimming this little extra off on that side, you know, from when we originally did it. I knew that it was coming back apart. Got the driver's side one done. Whenever it's finished up, this is what it looks like. So that's what it looks like. All the edges rolled, everything curved, filed out, so it's nice and sharp. That way when it sits down, you know, hopefully it'll sit like that. And hopefully it won't catch. If we need to take more off of it, we can take more off of it. but I don't know how doable this car is gonna be sitting down this low. So this thing is pretty low, especially with everything underneath it. The camera just really don't make it look like it is in person, but it's pretty low. The rockers on these things sit so freaking high up. That's what makes it look like, you know, it's not high, but I mean, you can see, you know, in the rear how much it's tucking. Look at the busted paint, but you can see how it's, you know, tucking pretty decent on them. But let's get this other one cut, and we've got the fuel draining out. Surprisingly, I put 5 gallons in there originally, and then on these couple of startups that I have done, it has drank a ton. That's all that we have. So the fuel's like maybe right there. So it's probably drank 4 gallons already just on a little bit of startup. So I definitely wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a whole lot more to still be in there. But with the garage all open, airing out, I'm dropping the fuel out of it, and then I'm gonna hook the fuel pump and work on getting that flipped around so we have our flow right. All right, got our fuel pump situation took care of. Like I said, it was completely backwards, so we got it correctly now. Got everything nice and neat. You know, heat shrink on everything, wire loom, rubber grommet that runs through the floor. You know, just everything's done. Leaving this out because I ordered another one of these fittings right here. This thing was leaking. This is the eBay brand one, so y'all can go ahead and give me hell about it now. Most of the eBay ones have not leaked, but that one was leaking for some reason. Hopefully it's not, you know, the fuel filter housing fitting, which I don't think it is. But I ordered that F word, I can't pronounce it, but I have heard other people say good things about it. Still ordered it off eBay, but it's just a name brand fitting. Got the dumps on, put the other side on already, just put this side on. So that's how they turned out. So you can see that they're tucked up. You know, they got the bottom corners cut off of them. That's how they look. So I'm curious if on the other side, you know, because our O2 sensor is up in here on the other side, you know, it's about right there. So there was fresh air kind of rolling in the end of the tip, messing it up, John was saying, you know, and, you know, whenever I got a little bit of extension on it, that it probably wouldn't mess it up. So I'm curious if cutting all of this pipe back this far is going to mess that up. If it does, we're going to have to come in here with some flat plate and flat plate that, have Mike take all that up, and it'll just be choked down just a little bit to right there. But you can see we got all the clearance, barely, I mean, it just barely fits, so that hopefully it don't scrape the ground. But everything's back installed on that. So with that being done, I think that's pretty much gonna be a wrap. It's Sunday afternoon and we're sitting in a pretty good spot. So I think that's everything we needed to do to get to TKM. So tomorrow's Monday. I'll text Kevin in the morning and find out if he is good for Tuesday or if he can get us in this week at all. And then, you know, we'll go from there. Tomorrow, if he says that we are good for Tuesday, then we'll bring the trailer home tomorrow afternoon. I have to finish up some stuff on it. I have to mount the winch, mount the strap, the tie down points in the floor up front, get all the straps sorted out, put the grip tape down because I don't want the car sitting on the painted parts. Besides that, I just have a couple things I want to do on the trailer before we hit the road and button up loose ends. And then hopefully this week we're going to TKM and hopefully we'll get a tune and we'll have this thing where it's running, and then we can move forward with alignment, setting up the rear end and all that. You know, I've had a couple of y'all comment, you know, it's a good drive the car basically. We can't, so one wheel's like out a little, other one's straight. So I've got to figure out alignment whenever we get it back, and definitely not looking forward to that because of how hard these upper control arms are to do, but it's got to be done. So that's gonna be a wrap on this video. I got some exciting stuff coming to y'all in a video coming soon, but I'll see you on the next upload. Thanks, y'all.